Hey gents, we are definitely in a menswear renaissance type of environment right now, and one of those subsections of that renaissance is all about these clothing subscriptions. There are a ton of them. And I do want to distinguish there are two different types of subscription services, but I think that they both spawn out of the things we're going to talk about today. So you've got your styling services like Stitch Fix, Trendy Butler, Bombfell, and the styling services. Then you have your delivery services, as I'm going to call them, which are your Gentleman's Box, Sprezza Box, Watch Gang, Loot Crate, Lust Box, Birchbox, and Spifster, and there's dozens more over on the women's side. And then you've got things like Blue Apron and Nature Box and other even subscription boxes. And so I just want to talk about the underlying things that have brought us to here today and just give you a little bit more information on why I believe we are seeing this right now. As we dive in here, make sure you're subscribed to learn about the best menswear on the internet. I also cover product and brands specifically, but then I'm also going into more of the business side of things, and so that's what I like to cover on this channel, so please join us on this journey. I'll also link below to a bonus video where I'm going to talk today about why I believe Tiege Hanley is a subscription-only company and give my thoughts on that. The current subscription boom that we are in, I can essentially boil down to three reasons for it to happen. One is consumer acceptance and understanding. Two is from a business model standpoint, understanding how you can leverage that acceptance. And then third, and most importantly probably, is the infrastructure and technology that is allowing these things to happen. And so these three things are all interchangeable, and let's break down each of them individually. So one, the consumer acceptance. Years ago, people were weary to even put their credit cards online, and the rise of e-commerce, the rise of Amazon, and the rise of secure technologies has allowed customers, young and old, to go online and buy things. And so number one is online commerce is starting to be more accepted. And then the well-documented rise of the millennial consumer is people like me who don't feel the need or want to go to physical stores and malls. Store traffic is down considerably over the years, and I talked about this on my Nordstrom Amazon video, is while the older customer that used to go to the store are starting to die out, the millennials are not going to the stores as much. There's definitely plenty of people who go to the malls, but there's lots of studies that also show younger millennials like myself would rather go out to a restaurant with friends and spend their money that way than they would to go shopping. And so there's the consumer side of things, which is that there's a lot more young people who are willing to go online and buy things than there are to go to the store, and that online discovery, lack of shopping, starts to feed into the benefits of going with a subscription service. So that's one component, the consumer side. The second is the business model and the incredible efficiencies that you can get as a subscription box compared to a traditional retailer model, and that comes into play with forecasting. So every retailer needs to try and forecast how many units of something they will sell: pants, shirts, ties, socks, anything. Whenever a retailer, I don't like to pick on J. Crew, but J. Crew is the one that everybody knows. If J. Crew is bringing out a line of cashmere sweaters, they have to say they are going to sell 50,000 units. They're going to buy 50,000 units from the mill, put them in their stores. The person who's responsible for putting those cashmere sweaters in the store is either going to be a little bit wrong, a little bit right, or a lot of wrong, or a lot of right, and that directly affects the margins of J. Crew, and that is one of the big things that subscription boxes don't have to do. They know exactly how many units they would sell or would deliver by, and so they don't have the waste associated with a lot of these traditional retailers, which is huge for the margins and huge for the inventory implications of getting those mistakes wrong, which is usually what erodes most of the money that these retailers can make on the back end once they do sell through all of their inventory. There's also been a huge rise, like I said, of smaller menswear brands, and so it's very easy to get the inventory for these subscription boxes because there's a lot of small sock brands, small shirt brands, small pocket square brands, and they're trying to get their products out there. The subscription boxes have the direct relationships with the customers to then get the units and get the cool stuff for them, send it out. And then there's also efficiencies within there where, because the subscription box knows that they can sell X number of units, then the seller into the box is able to say, okay, well, if you're going to sell this many units, I can give you this much of a discount, and then the subscription box can make their margins and pass it on to the customer. And so there are a lot of really cool things going on behind the scenes which allow this to be a great business for both us who are getting good deals on it. I mean, the boxes like Gentleman's Box, where you're getting a box, you're paying $25 and getting about $100 worth of stuff, that's because they have these efficiencies. Now, the third thing, which is interchangeable with the others that we talked about, is the infrastructure and technology surrounding these services services which allow them to really spring. Something that Jeff Bezos has talked about in some of his interviews, where he's saying, Amazon can only exist because it was at the right time in the right place. There was the infrastructure for the shipping and the U.S. Postal Service. There was the infrastructure on the web for allowing people to put their credit cards in. And so Amazon just took all those ideas and put them together. And this is largely the same thing that's happening with subscription services. So not only do you have the rise of consumer acceptance of buying things online, but you have the technologies to support those, like Shopify and like Amazon Fulfillment, where there's a much lower cost of starting up a business. And I think this might be one of the biggest things that's allowing this, is I could start a subscription box for almost no money, start to market it, start to get brands on board, because there's a lot of brands that want to get their out there. And so the technologies from a web technology standpoint, but also from shipping and receiving, there's no way that a subscription service would be able to flourish if it weren't for FedEx, UPS, and the US Postal Service. There's also more people, especially in the US, online than ever, and so there's a lot more people who are connected who are maybe outside of major areas or have easy access to shopping, where they can very easily get mail for the same cost as somebody who's living in a major city. And so you have a lot more people who would say, instead of driving the hour that I need to go to a store and buy a bunch of clothes, I can just get them all delivered to me for little to no money and have this like fast free shipping. That's incredible. And so those are all of the things that really add up to saying, here's why we have so many subscription boxes. And one of the analogies that I really like is talking about how the businesses today are built on the shattered glass of existing businesses. So in this case, the shattered glass would be the J. Crews, the Hollisters, the Abercrombie and Fitches. Those business models were great for their time, and they predicated on having lots of people coming into physical stores. They had lots of real estate, they had lots of infrastructure, but those business models are starting to crumble. And so of that shattered glass, there's now people that are making the assumption that not everybody's going to go to the store, but people will want to get things in their home. The internet culture also allows within this a lot of niches, and so you do have companies that are delivering specialty socks, delivering specialty gentlemen's accessories, which I get a lot of, but there's a lot of people who don't wear suits every day or don't wear shirt and tie every day, and so it doesn't matter to them that they're getting shirts and ties. And so it allows these brands to have very specific target audiences, and that allows a lot of customer loyalty, and it also allows a lot of personalization, which you didn't have when you had huge stores with huge assortments and just lots of clothes, which were catering more to the general population versus somebody who would be really dedicated to a specific brand. So in summary, the reason we are seeing the rise in subscription services is you have more people online than ever. You have an acceptance of the e-commerce model and getting things delivered to you. You have an incredible efficiencies at the business model standpoint from the company. So a retailer who today is trying to forecast a certain number of units in inventory is going to be much, much more willing to go to a subscription model where they know exactly how many people are going to buy something. And then also you have the infrastructure behind this from internet technologies and delivery options, and again that consumer acceptance of getting things delivered to them, of why you're seeing the rise. And it's just the early days for this. Stitch Fix currently looks like it's going to go public. They're doing about $1 billion annual revenue on these subscription boxes, so it's a huge market, but it's only the early days, because if you talk to other people, they don't get clothing delivered today, but there is a very real possibility with the rise of the Amazon wardrobe that I talked about and some of these other new services that are popping up. It's going to be pretty interesting. There you have it, gents. I don't like to just dive into the boxes and talk about the things that I get. I also like to look at it from a business side, and I think you guys are interested in this as well. I've been trying to do these Wednesday videos where I talk about the industry and things of this nature, and you guys seem to be liking them. So any more suggestions? I've got a list of things that I'd like to cover, but as always, I love the feedback and comments that we have down below, so that helps me to kind of guide the channel, because I do this for you guys. I don't do it for my own health. I do it so that we have a great discussion, great community, and just more informed gentlemen is a good thing to me. There's a really good chance that you're already subscribed. If not, please do, and share this with somebody that you think would be like to be part of this community of modern smart gentlemen. And you can also comments below, and then also reach out at @_Kavalier on Twitter and Instagram. Until next time, gents, this is the Kavalier. And then I saw her standing there with green eyes and long blonde hair. She wasn't wearing underwear, at least I prayed that she might be the one.
Maybe we'd have some fun. Maybe we watch the sunrise, and that night I learned some girls try too hard. Na 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 na.